So I figured I should do some sort of guide on this game. I've been wanting to do like, I wanted to write up like official guides and or like make guide videos and stuff for this game, but I just every time I started, I just kind of stop like kind of halfway. But this is actually going to be an in-depth guide to Sin, who is my main character in this game. I'm not the best Sin character by a long shot, but I play this character enough to, I think I know a decent amount about how to play Sin and kind of his general strategies and what he needs to do for certain matchups and stuff like that. So I guess we might as well start off with the basics. So let's go over here. So Sin is an interesting character. He relies heavily on tension to deal a lot of damage, and he's also got pretty long-ranged attacks. The main weakness of him is that he has very hard-to-hit no-tension combos. His moves are very predictable in certain sense, but he's got great poke and great zoning, making him a very interesting character. Now, you might notice that, like, Sin is probably, like, the, he's sort of a mid-range zoner. He's not a more long-range zoner like Paradigm or, I guess Paradigm's also a mid-range zoner, but, like Valentine or something. He's very much like a mid-range character, and a lot of his stuff is going to come across his most powerful ability called Beak Driver. That thing. Which is one of the most strongest abilities in the game. But again, the main problem with Sin is that a Sin with no tension is a dead Sin. Most people, and I would also say, if you have no tension, you better be careful when going into a fight as Sin. Whereas characters like Soul, he can do a lot of really powerful no tension combos and that are pretty consistent. Sin doesn't have that luxury. His fastest attack is his L6X, which only goes to the right. So, while it's really fast and really good for hit confirms, it can be easily dodged. His L2X is also good for chasing. You know, it keeps your momentum and stuff. But that move has a good sweep range, but it's also pretty easily dodgeable and can be hard to hit. Anyway, so his free attacks are terrible, so I'm not even going to bother going through them. But what's really good on him is his free 8X, which is this thing. This thing is so it sends him going forward a pretty good distance and does a lot of damage and also knocks enemies up. It's really, really good against mobs of servants and for also extending combos. But if you miss it, look at the recovery on this thing. I can't do anything for that whole time. But if you hit something and anything, you can dash cancel it. And you can see the range on it's pretty forgiving as well. Except not that one, but so you can dash cancel it. You can also use this in any direction, so you can keep doing this. Oh, whoops. You can keep doing like going around it like that. So that gives you also a pretty good judge for how the range works. Definitely practice this move a lot because you're going to be using it quite a bit. All right, so let's go over his lock moves. So his main combo is his main attack is going to be his L5X and his L6X. The L5X has vertical hitbox, so you can actually hit enemies while jumping, and it's actually one of the best air tech chase moves in the game. It's a great anti-air, it's a great tech chase move, but it's also kind of hard to hit on the ground. While it does have a lot of range, I'm afraid my game's going to crash, I'm not going to do that. While it does have a lot of range, it can be easily blocked, obviously. And also, if you land the first hit at max range, you're going to miss the second hit. So here, look. See, the second hit has less range, and it also leads directly into his main combo, which is this. Which the last hit also has even less range. So you can usually land 2 hits in a normal range situation, and then lead it into something else. Any single hit after the second one will lead into the third hit. But you can't cancel the first hit You can cancel the first hit into a 6x, you can cancel it into a 2x. Oh no, you can't, I'm sorry. You can cancel it into a 6x or a 4x. Alright, so his 6x is one of probably his best close range moves. As you can see, it comes out really fast, and he can also hit confirm it into Beak Driver. He can also hit confirm it into 2x, if you're close enough anyway. Into 8y. Yeah, it's a really good move. You can also quickly dash cancel it. You can also do that with the 5x as well. So, the way that the Japanese wiki describes Sin is that he's very much a checks and balance character, in the sense that you pretty much need to know, like, you need to look for openings, because Sin is a really hard character to guard break. His guard breaks are very, very dangerous. I'll show you them in later on. And using his normal attacks to poke and to keep enemies at bay is going to be your main strategy here. And also, of course, watching out for his tension. Anyway, so his 4x. This is a really good move for killing servants. But for doing anything else, it's terrible. It has a really long startup time. While it does have a lot of range, it's very hard to hit this thing. And that's also one of his major weaknesses, is because if Soul was to guard guard cancel step left, he can easily get in on me, because he'll dodge this, he'll dodge this, he'll dodge that, and this startup time will allow him to go in. It can also be jumped over and all that kind of stuff. So you're pretty much only going to use this thing for killing servants. Now, this thing can be forward step canceled as well, whereas the L5X can only be jump canceled, and I think the L6X can also only be jump canceled. So you usually do this when killing servants. This loop here. Something like that. That's usually how you kill servants as Sin, because it uses no tension. It can hit multiple servants at once, all that kind of stuff. So that's his servant killing loop. I'll go over that more a little bit later when we talk about servant killing with Sin. So his L2X, I think we already kind of discussed. It's a trip. You can use it while you're dashing forward toward people. It's actually really good for trying to catch people, because you can do stuff like that. It can be also good for rapid fire pressure and stuff. You can do stuff like that, fancy stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff can go off of that. And then finally his L8X, which is pretty bad because it has a lot of recovery. Even before you can dash cancel it, you can usually get hit out of it. Also, of course, if you miss it, it's got a lot of recovery as well. So this move is pretty much only used to extend combos like this. Oh, whoops. Like that. So that's usually only used to extend combos. I would not ever use this move normally unless you're going for some sort of guard break combo. It's very unsafe, and even though you can guard cancel it, step cancel it, they can usually block the next attack. So, yeah. I think that's it. So let's talk about his special moves. So we already talked about Beak Driver. Press Y again to launch him in the air. If they try to step cancel this thing, like left or right, they will get hit by the blast. And this is his primary move you're going to use for both poking as well as for combos. Pretty much all of his combos come after Beak Driver, so you'll see that soon. This thing uses a lot of tension very quickly, especially if you press it that, so you got to watch out for that. Alright, so his 8Y is Advanced Beak Driver. This is his main damage-dealing attack. It does a lot of damage over 3 hits and is usually a combo ender because it also sends people flying. You'll be using this thing against servants all the time. You'll be using it as combo enders and stuff. It's a very, very strong attack. We'll look at later if you use Exciter with this attack. It does more damage and it also stuns, which is pretty cool. Says L4 and L6X. Why? is this thing, this like lightning bulb thing. It does multiple hits and pushes enemies backwards. So you can direct where you want to place it by holding the analog stick. So I can place it all the way to the left, all the way to the right, or place it in the center. This thing is really good at zoning. So it's a very good zoning tool for keeping masters at bay. It's also very, very good at taking out Master Ghosts. It will take down barriers really quickly if you spam it like this. But this thing does use a lot of tension as well. You usually won't use this thing that much, except for zoning and also attacking Master Ghosts. Maybe you'll use it for servants, but for just clearing them out. But you're not going to be using it for damage. And finally, his 2Y is a counter. So I'll let... Hopefully my game doesn't crash. Okay, good. So I'll let him attack me, and you'll see what that's about. You can follow it up and go into a combo. So you can follow it up with square, and if you use Exciter, it'll actually stun them as well. So the counter is actually a very it's a very interesting move. It's very unforgiving if they can read it. As you can see, the recovery on it is really bad. But if you do land a counter, it helps a lot. It can help you escape. It can help you kill. It can help you do a bunch of things. So I guess now his air attacks. So let's do this. This is his air normal. That. And his air special is this thing. Focus on them flying. It's okay. Alright, so now for some combos. So let's start off with his B&B. This is pretty much Sin's bread and butter combo that does the most damage. I messed it up because I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. So that's his B&B combo. It uses about 25% tension, and as you can see, it does 308 damage, which is a lot. This is why Sin is a really interesting character. He does a lot of damage if he has the tension for it, and if he can also land his combos. But that's the problem, is that he can run out of tension very, very fast. So you can also extend this combo by doing something like this. Step cancel, forward 8Y. The timing on that's pretty strict. Like that. That does 326 damage. It does some extra damage over the normal B&B, but it's a little bit more tricky because you're relying on the fact that you can hit that free 8x after the L8x. So and you can also obviously do this off of any hit. So you do it off of this. You can do it off of this. Oops, you can do it off of this. Sorry. You can do it off of the sweep, etc. Actually, let's look at the sweep combo. So off a sweep, you can do something like this. Oops. Wait, that's not what I want to do. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not doing it right, but I don't remember it, but you can do a couple of things. So you can do stuff like this. Let's see. I'll do this one. I'll do this sweep combo instead. That combo is usually the one that will stun when you're doing when you use Exciter. So yeah, so if you hit this, you can land it into that. It's usually more consistent. If you actually do land off of a sweep, I don't know. I have to see how you would do that. Maybe you can do two. I don't think so. Nah. Or something like that even could work. But yeah, anyway. So, alright, so now let's look at his other B&B real quick. So that's his other basic B&B combo that doesn't use many tension, but you have to hit the 5X combo. You can also do something like this. Alright, that's a very low tension combo that does pretty good damage. Again, you have to hit the 5X combo. Another 5X combo rendition, something like this. I messed up the final hit, but you get the point, right? So you notice how a lot of his combos are going to end with either free 8X or 8Y. So that's where most of his damage comes from. Alright, so... Okay, let's do 8X, free 8X combos. I messed it up. I think you can only do it against Masters, you can only do 2 hits. But, so, something like this. So that does a lot of damage, but hitting the free 8X is very hard. But if you do hit it, that's something you can lead into. Okay, so now let's go over his actually, there's one more combo I want to try real quick. That's another one. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so oh, I forgot about that move. His dive kick. So he has a dive kick, which is his jump 8X. It gets him on the ground fast. It does OTG. Does a lot of fun stuff. But it's also very annoying. But it's not used too often, except for like that one combo, and also for his infinite loop, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, so Sin has a loop. A lot of people actually don't know this, who don't play Sin anyway a lot, or don't play against Sin players. Sin has a loop, and how do you do the loop? Well, here you go, I'll show you. Like that. They can sometimes get out of that combo depending on the terrain, but that's the best way to do it. If you hit them with the free 8X from behind, it won't work. So watch, so like this. Watch. Wait, I think I did it wrong. So, in other words, like if you go behind them and you hit them with the free 8X, and you try to jump dash cancel that hit, you won't get the loop. It'll miss. So here's the loop one more time. So there you go. That's a pretty low tension combo that, as you can see, also does a lot of damage. So that loop's pretty popular amongst like high-level Sin players. You'll see that loop a lot. It works pretty well. You might also notice that Sin actually doesn't have a lot of modern cancel combos, and I think this is just simply off the fact that he just uses so much tension, so he doesn't really need it. But his like base combos are pretty hard to hit, so your cancels are going to be mostly for pressure. So like going like this, if, like off of a guard or something, or like this to catch them going left if they decide to go left. And also for guard breaks. So let's talk about his guard breaks for a second. So I actually don't know a lot of Sin's guard breaks, but this is his most prominent one. I already messed it up because I suck. So you do free 8X into Beak Driver and immediately guard breaks. It's incredibly strong. That's probably his best form of pressure for guard breaking. But it's also very easily dodgeable, so watch this. All they have to do is that, and they get it. You can try to cancel it to catch them out of it, but it's very rare that you'll even be able to do that. So, I'm trying to think of some other ones. I think this also might work. Yes, that also works. So, if you actually want to go for an L8X, you can cancel it into Beak Driver, and it will catch people who are dashing, and it will... Actually, I don't know if it'll guard break, but it will catch people who sidestep. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, okay. So it doesn't guard break, but it catches people off. So that's his main guard break that I know of. He probably has some other ones that I'm just really pretty bad at this game, so that's another one, but that's one of the huge problems with him, is that he doesn't have any good consistent guard breaks. Izuna has the exact same problem. Soul, on the other hand, has a really consistent guard break. He actually has multiple consistent guard breaks. I know this isn't a Soul tutorial, but just as an example, that's one of them. Here's another one. Something like that. Actually, I think you don't even cancel it. Yeah, you don't even need to cancel it. So yeah, guard breaking as him is pretty hard. So if you actually do want to risk it and go for the free 8X, which I highly recommend you don't do unless there's servants around, so you can step cancel it, it's probably not going to be a good idea. But yeah, if you actually do get the hit, you can do a lot of things off of it. You can guard break with that. You can do some added pressure by canceling it. Oops. By canceling it. Into this if you want to hit him off. All that kind of stuff. So anyway. So now, that's the basics of his combos, I think. I think I hit mostly everything. So you're going to be poking a lot with this. You're going to be poking a lot with this, You can do tech chases with that. Actually, I'll show you that right now. How you can do a tech chase here. So like I said, Sin is really good at air tech chasing. It's probably one of his best feats, actually, because of this. So I can show you, for example... I messed it up. I can't do it. I forget exactly how to do it, but there's multiple ways to trick people into it, or something like this even. Nah, it's not high enough. I tell you guys, I'm a good Sin player, I promise. Actually, I like that. I like that a lot. I can't think of it right now, but if you ever end up... So, essentially, if you ever end up dropping a combo, you can tech chase with this. Or if you ever overextend an air combo or something like that, you can tech chase with that. Because it can hit them out of the air. And also, if they jump at you, you can use that for poking as well. It's a great anti-air, and you can follow. You can jump cancel it, etc., etc., etc. Like that. That's a good example. Okay, now I remembered what I was going to do. So you do this. I fucked it up. I keep jump canceling when I'm not trying to jump cancel it. I'm sorry. Like that. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, so you do this. You beat driver after the hit, and then you do a L5X. Don't spawn. And then, so if they tech in place like that, or you can even chase them with a jump attack if you want, stuff like that. All right, let's look at his skills now.
Okay.
All right, so Patagato Stain is the most powerful frickin' skill in the game. So it's a projectile that goes straight out, as you can see. And if you use it and it doesn't hit anything, it refreshes immediately and also doesn't use any tension. But when it goes through ally servants, it heals them for a good amount of HP. I think it's actually about the same as an HP large. So it's really powerful. Phantom Barrel uses some HP and also tension to send out a straight line attack that does a lot of damage and also stuns. Now, the actual damage that it does, and if it stuns or not, depends on how many servants are around Sin. Level 3 of this thing is so insanely strong. If you have Convict Hammer, it's even stronger. This thing at endgame, Phantom Barrel at endgame, is one of the strongest abilities in the game. Exciter is basically the opposite of Crimson Jacket from Soul. It lasts about 30 seconds, I think, and it basically gives extra damage to all of his attacks, and also allows him to stun off of his advanced beak driver like this. As you can see, it stuns. Actually, it lasts for, I think, 15 seconds. But so, the other thing you can do with Exciter, you can stun off of a couple of different hits. So like this, for example, will stun. If you hit that, that will stun. If you hit off of a counter, it will stun. So like this. Oops, I messed it up. As you can see. And of course, it obviously does extra damage. So, if we look at some Exciter combos, you will see does a lot more damage. And I mean a lot more damage. Let's try that again. 371 damage off of that. Now let's try the more advanced one. See what we get. I messed it up. And my controller disconnected. Nice. 406 damage. Yep. It also, of course, makes Phantom Barrel ridiculous. Now, it's only level 1, but it obviously makes it stronger when it's higher level. Exciter also affects this attack, so you can kill servants faster. So basically, you're gonna buy Exciter when you gotta kill armors, or you gotta kill some important unit. That's when you're gonna use Exciter. Humming Sword is his minion. It has very low health, just like other servants. But the thing that makes it fun, as you can see, it stuns for a short duration, and it's also tiny as crap, so it's annoying to hit. It's basically a better version of Raven's Raven thing. It's a much better version of that. A lot of people don't buy Humming Sword, but in certain situations it can actually be pretty fun. It's not that good for capturing ghosts and stuff like some other minions are, but it's pretty good for pressure. It's pretty dang good for pressure. So some items that are good when playing with Sin. Rapid Fire is almost essential for Sin because he has a very hard time getting away. You can also do some basic Rapid Fire combos, but they're not too extensive. Mouse Zipper and Heavy Feet are always good, and Sin has some pretty easy item combos as well that you can use. Banana is also just good for more zoning, and same with landmines and stuff. It works really well with him. And yeah, so
okay.
That's it for that. Stay tuned for part 2, and we'll look at his servants and servant strategies and all that kind of stuff. So this is basically the action part, and now we're going to look at the RTS part in part 2.